Hello everyone, welcome back to my Meaningful Creations vlog. I've successfully gathered the last of the supplies that I needed, along with a few that I don't, but I thought they made a really good addition. This is my local art store. Luckily, they still had everything I needed, and more, in stock. This haul is the heavy-duty paper awl from Lineco's Books by Hand. It was $5.12 at this store, which isn't too bad for my online research. This bone folder from EK Tools is an odd shape in plastic rather than bone, but I'll talk more about that later. It was $4.99 at my local art store, and to my great joy, they still had 1-ounce bars of beeswax in stock. This bar was also from Lineco's Books by Hand line. At $6.30, the beeswax was my most expensive purchase at this store. The cheapest item I got was a pack of 7 heavy-duty hand needles from Care and Repair. They were only $2.49 and came with 2 curved needles, 2 standard needles, 1 extra long straight needle, and 2 with unique tips. In all, I spent nearly $19 for my bookbinding tools. A few days later, a friend of mine drove me to Walmart, where I picked up this cream cardstock for a little over $7. Okay, so I know I said I was going to use this 20-pound copy paper right here, but when I went to Walmart to pick up the cardstock with my friend and I told her that's what I was going to use, she just gave me this look of disappointment. Um, and she said something to the effect of, use anything but 20-pound paper, and looked at the slightly more expensive inkjet reams. So I ended up buying a heavier weight ream. This is 24-pound copy paper. It says inkjet and laser paper. So yeah, 24-pound paper. To put it into context a bit, the cardstock that I bought is 65 pounds. I haven't cracked it open to see just how thick that is, but that's still like a 41-pound difference between the cardstock and this heavier copy paper right here that you can just barely see in frame. But yeah, my friend and my sister agreed that this slightly heavier paper would be better for my project, so that's what I'm going to use. Now about this bone folder. They're called bone folders because they're usually made from bone, which this one clearly isn't. It's very clearly plastic. But the material isn't really a problem. The other thing is its shape. Now, this one is, carved. It's kind of like a blunt knife. You see? It's like a blunt knife. Usually they're usually about this length, but they're also usually straight with kind of a tapered arrow point, spearhead kind of point, and they're beveled on both edges. This one is only beveled on one edge, and here at the bottom it's also beveled. Yeah, not sure how that's going to affect things, but this should be fine for what I'm doing. It's probably not going to be a problem, but I thought that, it's a unique shape, and if you're looking for a bone folder and you find one that isn't quite like this, you're fine. This one is actually the weird one. Alright, so that's that. And now we get to the fun parts. Ta-da! Feather stencils and a watercolor art set. So I got this really cheap, and I can tell that it is a very cheap set. But this set comes with watercolor tubes, watercolor pats, 2 paintbrushes, 2 sketch pencils, a set of colored pencils, an eraser, and a pencil sharpener, as well as a sketchbook. Very small 10-page sketchbook that I played around with a bit, and I've gotten a feel for the colors, you know. But I thought this would be a really nice way to kind of jazz up the cover of our project. Because I just, like, I could leave it blank, but I felt like that was just too bland. And I'm probably going to use the watercolor tubes rather than the pats because the tubes are already wet. Like the paint in the tube is already wet. So I don't need more water to use them, which I would with the watercolor pats. And with the cardstock that I'm using, pretty sure that it's not going to hold up too well to like your usual um, watercolor pat, which is, you know, the little round things that you get your brush wet and you wipe it on there to get the color. Like, you know, every child that, you know, okay, it's very common to have like the Crayola watercolors in like elementary, middle school, and just like demolished. Like I loved it. I love watercolor. I think it's so pretty. But yeah, enough rambling on that. I think that it's time we crack open the cardstock and try out the watercolor. So excited! These tubes are already wet, and so I don't technically need extra water, but it helps to clean the brushes off between uses and to dilute the color if and when needed. So I'm going to pour a little bit of water into this little palette that the set came with. And now that I've pulled this cardstock out, it's a lot heavier than the copy paper. So definitely going to need the bone folder for this. Just line up corners. Come on. Ooh, folding this cardstock is going to be one of the hardest parts of this project, isn't it? Ooh, I don't know if you can hear that. Ooh, that's a nice sound. I quite like that sound. Okay, now that the cardstock is folded, I'm just going to put the stencil. I think I'm going to use this feather. I'm going to put it here. I'm going to use this burnt umber. Yeah, burnt umber. I'm just going to squeeze, drop. Now, the thing about watercolors, and a good number of paints really, is that a drop goes a very long way. So like this tube can probably last me a good long while. But with this scarlet here, this goes a very, very, very long way because it is so dark that when I was testing them out, I ended up diluting this a quite a bit, quite a bit, because it is just so strongly pigmented. Which, you know, is good. Okay, now here's my brush. I'm going to go ahead and wet it just a little bit, or a lot. It's another thing about watercolor, it's generally very forgiving. Okay, ooh, here we go. Excited! Just going to... Ooh, that looks pretty nice. Can you see that? Am I not zoomed in enough? I'm probably not zoomed in enough. Give me a sec. There, now you might be able to see it a bit better. But it's watercolor, so it's kind of pale. I'll give you guys a close-up when I'm done with... Ooh, that's dark. When I'm done with this one. I think something I would say about a meaningful creation is that anything that's worth doing is worth taking your time on, you know,